We're just waiting for IT to give us the green light for those at home and your viewing pleasure. We're going to start off today when we do get rolling with board. We're good to go? Okay, let's call the Government Operations and Advocacy meeting to order. Today's the 22nd of March, 2021. And I will first entertain a motion to approve of the committee's prior minutes. Do I have Mr. Leggett? Do I have a second on that? Mr. Conover, thanks, there, Ron. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, here we go, sports fans. Board of Elections will be first, Pam Vogel will be second, and Julie, if it's all right, you're going to be third. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Because there may be a question in Pam Vogel's piece that we may have to ask you on, okay? So we'll start off right away with the agenda. The first thing on the agenda will be the Board of Elections, and I will turn it over to Beth and Billy. So,
you want a motion to bring it to the floor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have, let's see here. Yes, do I have a motion to bring to the floor number 3-1, which is increasing the Board of Elections inspectors hourly rate from $12.50 to $15 due to the issue of retention recruiting. Last year's general election used 177 inspectors at a cost of about $35,400, and we're going to increase the pay to $15 to about $42,480, approximately a $7,000 increase. So, motion is moved by Mr. Leggett, seconded by Mr. Conover. Okay, now let's have a little discussion on that, and I'll turn it over to Billy and Beth first, and they can kind of explain that, although it's self-explanatory. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. You did an excellent job putting that all out there. It really amounts to a flat rate fee. They work a 16-hour day, so they would have been paid $16 an hour, or $200 for the day. With the increase at $15 an hour, it'll be $240 a day. And like that stated before, we would like to keep our inspectors trained. We did receive a lot of new ones last year. We would like to keep them. And it was hard recruiting, so we would like to retain our inspectors that we train each year. And I think they deserve that. It's a long day. It's a hard day. I think things get easier with the electronic sign-in poll books and the machines, but it's a lot of responsibility, and I think they deserve that increase.
I don't think it's out of line, but is there any other discussion? Yes, Mr. Conover.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I couldn't agree more with you on this. I don't think it's out of line, and I think that this is one of, if not the most important function that we have, is our democratic electoral processes. And can you imagine a situation where we don't have trained volunteers, we don't have trained people to do this? It would be beyond the pale. So
they're the face of the Board of Elections on Election Day.
I'm completely supportive of this, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the questions. All in favor of this, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Is Mr. Wild on? I don't see, is...
Showing up.
Okay, I just don't see it on there. I didn't know if he wanted to vote or not. Okay, carried. Let's go to number 3-2, which is move money from the Capital Reserve Code A898.00 to A1450.421 for the annual Dominion lease of $43,718. If possible, make a 7-year move to avoid coming back to committee each year. Who'd like to move this? Moved by Mr. Leggett, second. Second by Mr. Conover. Thank you, Ron. Okay, let's have a discussion. Billy and Beth, who'd like to take this one?
I'll start off with this one. Beth will chip in there anytime you feel, but this was a resolution that we passed back in 20 to lease these machines from Dominion. We went to a lease program because, as you know, we've got machines that we're going to be giving away to adjoining counties. Once they've lived their life, they have no value to them. So Beth and I spoke with Dominion, went into a lease program. At the end of this 7-year lease program, they either take their machines back and we lease new ones, or it's their problem. It's not ours any longer. The problem we had, we thought we had got it all finished at that point in time, but we were reminded by Rob Lynch that we needed to move this money out of that capital reserve project that we started 3 years ago, which was a great move on this board's part to get that out there. So it was money that we had left over and some money that the Board of Supervisors helped us and joined in there. So this lease is going to be, is 43,000, a little over 40, it's $43,718 a year. The dates are all on your resolution request form, and we're asking that it be done for the 7-year process if possible. Amanda, I don't know if that's possible, but all we're saying is it's a continuing lease. Nothing's going to change in it. It's going to stay that way until the machines are outlive their life, is 7 years, or until we start a new lease with them. So we figured it would save you time and save us time by moving this resolution forward to do it throughout 4/30 of 2028 is when the lease would end.
Okay, yes, Amanda? Mary, could you answer that question? I believe the question was, can we go to a 7-year lease on this?
Yeah, we already have the 7-year lease, so I think the question whether or not you can do this money transfer for the 7 years?
Right, correct.
Each year.
As long as it's authorized by resolution, it should be fine.
And that's what our resolution says, is that asks that it gets paid, I think it's the 1st of May every year throughout 2028.
Okay, so the resolution does state that then, correct, Amanda? All right then, so is there any other discussion on this? Ryan, did you have a comment?
I do. Just a verification here, Bill and Beth. The balance in that reserve right now is about $319,000. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. So then, as long as we have the funding available, I don't see why we couldn't put a stipulation in a resolution that authorizes the county treasurer to annually deduct that amount out of the reserve.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we're all square now. Any other discussion on that? All right, seeing and hearing that, I don't see anybody from out in Hitherland. I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Ron.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, Mike Wild. I didn't realize I was muted.
Oh,
Do
okay.
I still have a chance?
Pardon me?
I still have an opportunity. I still have an opportunity for a question.
Sure, go ahead. We hadn't voted officially on it yet, so go ahead.
Thank you. I'm just curious about the terms of the lease contract, and if there are mandated upgrades to the system required for whatever reason, maybe for cybersecurity or the like. Is that built into this contract that they're going to keep us up to date?
Yes.
Maintenance update. This was a contract that Mary went through with us back almost a year ago. Maintenance and everything is included, and it's their machine. Basically their machines. We're just leasing them.
But that doesn't really answer my question. If there's mandated updates, are they going to be taken care of?
Yes.
Yes.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McGowan?
Yeah, thank you. I was chairman of that, the committee when we went through that. And then, Bill and Beth, really, we went over this with really well, and it does. It made so much sense to go this way because of all the updates and the repair and everything else. It was really a no-brainer than buying them out. But I want to just again thank Beth and Billy for doing and bringing this forward. And I really felt it was a great deal to go with the lease. And in that way, after the 7-8 years, there'll be the new products out there that we need to go instead of, every year worrying about our machines and getting through the election. So again, Beth and Billy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Otherwise, I'll call the question. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried. All right, discussion items from the BOE, 4-1, printers for second early voting site if approved by legislation.
Mr. Chairman?
Just one.
Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed 3.3. Thank you. Needham Group, new contract from, Form 3 from Resolution 293 of 2020 to enter into a new contract and upgrade virtual inspector training, transfer funds from Needham, $3,960 from miscellaneous 439 to contract 470. Okay, Mr. Leggett, you want to move this?
Yes.
Moved by Mr. Leggett, second by Mr. Conover, thank you. Okay, Beth, Billy, you want to jump in on this one?
You got it, Bill?
This is, as you know, last year because of the COVID, we went to a virtual training program for our inspectors, so we didn't have to bring them into the building. It worked very well, I've got to say, for its first year out of the chute. It gives our inspectors the opportunity to watch this virtual video at home. Medium set us up to, they take a portion of it, a portion about the machine, they take a test. They take a portion about the ballot, they take a test. This goes all through virtual, and once they certify and once they've taken and completed the course, we get a copy of their certificate. They are required by New York State Board of Elections and New York State election law to be recertified every year. So what we want to do again is go back to Needham. We've got some updating that we've got to do in these videos to bring in some more information on the new 10X poll books, new law changes that have taken place. I hate to mention it, but we've got 7 that are sitting in the assembly for tomorrow, that there are 7 new laws, and we don't know where that's going to go. But new update on the machines, all this stuff. And in order to do that, we need them to come back in, do another video, update our video, and it's at the tune of $3,960, which may be less. That will be the max. They've given us an hourly rate this time of $110 an hour, as you can see in your resolution request. We, Beth and I don't believe it's going to take them 8 hours to re-video our training session because they're going to be able to use a lot of it that they did last year. So the max would be $3,960, and that's basically the whole story with it.
Thank you, Billy. Did you want to add anything, Beth?
Nope, you covered it all. Thank you.
Very good. Question for Mr. Conover, then Mr. McGowan. Mr. Conover?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, actually more of a statement. I mean, there's nothing more important than having trained inspectors. I mean, it's essential for the smooth running of the election, for dealing with issues on site, for everything, operating the machine, everything. And I think that I like the program where there's people can train themselves on their own schedule, so to speak, and then can provide or is provided electronically that they've gone through the training. I think that's terrific. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Mr. McGowan, did you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hey, Beth and Bill, did we share this last year with another county?
We didn't and we couldn't because they have a basically a standalone clause in the Needham clause.
Oh.
Yeah, what we did do is this information went out to Saratoga County, Essex County, and I believe Franklin, was it that?
And we even let the state board know how we did it, so they kind of spread that along as well.
So we were contacted by several other counties asking how we went with this virtual training. They didn't know what they were going to do either, and a lot of them went to the virtual training as well.
Thank you.
Okay, do I hear or see any other discussion? Out there in Heatherland, I see none. Okay, I will call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Did I hear opposed? No, okay. Very good, passed. All right, let's go to number 4, discussion items, furnished for second early voting site if approved by legislation, OKI 795 each, need 2. Okay. This is a discussion item only, so I'll leave this up to Beth and Billy. Who'd like to discuss this?
Well, early voting site, it is in legislation. We may have to have 2 sites. We've contacted Supervisor Garrity. We do have arrangements to use the judges' quarters in the town hall if it comes to that, but we would need additional equipment. On-demand printers would be the biggest one at this point. So I'm just kind of putting it out there. We may come back in an instant to get, for us to spend some money on some equipment to get that accomplished.
What type of money do you think we're looking at? I see $795 there. Is that?
High end. We're actually researching. Bill did some research and and again, Oki has stopped making that printer, so we're actually in the market of finding another one, 10X as well. And Bill did some research and has reached out to Mike Colvin, and so
we've got Mike Colvin and a few others searching for us. And I think from what Beth and I have found, we're going to be able to reduce this $795 price down considerably, because when we first got them, we had to buy them through the 10X program that we were just getting into. They were the only printers that were compatible with the 10X pool book. But now, since they've been out there, there seems to be other printers that are available and much cheaper. So we're just, as Beth said, it's kind of a heads up. This may be in the future, and with the way they're changing laws, it could be the future before the primary, and it could be the future before the general. We won't know until it drops on us.
Okay, well, keep us posted, obviously, on all those updates from the state. That's a full-time job in itself. Okay, let's move to item number 2 on discussion items. Dominion repairs to 42 ICP voting machines for $8,484 and transfer from miscellaneous 430 to equipment repairs 422. Now, this is a discussion item only, correct?
Well, it's a discussion item only because we wanted to advise. We were told that all we had to do was advise the committee that we were transferring money. But we also wanted to remind the committee nicely that there was almost $30,000 taken out of our budget. These are repairs that have to be done. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're the Mylar. There's 2 pieces of Mylar that are within the machine that read the ballots. And as the ballots go through, they scratch this Mylar up, and that's what causes the misreads, and it spits the ballots back out. These ICPs that we were going to do originally 68, but the cost was astronomical. We've reduced it down to the 42 that we currently and consistently use. So we're going to, and the problem is, we were going to have our techs downstairs, our supervisors, learn how to change this Mylar, but we were advised by Dominion, that's all well and good, but if you have a problem out in the field, that little clause I got that says they're going to go to court and testify for us if they maintain the machine, they're not going to go to court and testify us. And believe me, neither Beth and I like the outside of the doors. We don't like to hear them slam. So we need to stay with them and let them do the repair work. So it's basically just advising that we need to move that 8484 from our miscellaneous, which is our inspector account, to Dominion to pay this bill. But it's also a heads up, and you all know it, and Supervisor McGowan, you'll remember it, because I can remember our phone call. We're probably going to come back to the table when it comes inspector time in November to get money back.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Leggett?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill, for the record, can you tell us what ICP stands for?
Image Cast Precinct.
It's the opposite. I'm sorry.
Image Cast Precinct. It's a scanner.
Thank you.
It's a difference between the BMD. The BMD is the accessible, the one with the big monitor on it. That's the accessible machine. These are the ones with just the scanners on them.
Okay, any other discussion on that, Mr. McGowan?
Yes, and Billy and Beth, I do concur with our discussions, and we are on the record about your money that was pulled. So I just want to make sure that you stay relaxed. Everything's cool so far.
All right, okay.
He's volunteered to write a check for $30,000 to the Bull.
When it comes to that point, I might not be so relaxed.
Okay, moving right along, number 5, referrals and pending items. 5.1, report on the carts and the old machines. What do we got going on there?
Well, it appears that after our resolution passed on the 19th to get rid of the excess equipment, the old equipment, the ADA booths, it appears Nassau County called us up, and it looks like they may be taking all of the ADA booths. So they may be going down to Nassau County. Those are the stand-up metal booths that we no longer have the use for. Beth, on the machines, I think.
We have Saratoga asking for 10, Washington County 2 or 3. Depends on their storage space, but they have a very small room that their machines are in. And then we have Essex County interested in the rest.
Okay, good. Sounds like that's handled. Any other discussion on that? Okay, thank you very much, Billy, Beth. That was excellent.
But, Doug, if we may, just for 1 minute, did you want us to talk a little bit about that grant, or are you all set? We were not really sure where it's going yet, but
you can, yeah, make a comments on the grant. I'm not sure the whole committee understands that, so go ahead, feel free.
Sizable grant in the state budget right now. Of course, got to go through the Assembly and the Senate hearing, but it looks like it's $23.5 million that will be distributed to local boards of elections. Now, again, that's got to get through the budget hearings, and they may cut it, they may take it out completely. Who knows what it's going to do? But the chairman had asked, when he met with us, asked us to look at that. Most generally, when the state board of election gets a grant issued to them, they pay say 5%. When we get the grant, we don't necessarily apply for a grant. We get a letter saying, oh, by the way, Warren County, you've been awarded an $86,000 grant. What are you going to do with it? We don't put an application out there for it. We just put out papers that tell them what we're going to do with it. And at that point, we send it to Mary and the county attorney's office. They review it. But I just wanted to let you know there is talk of this $23.5 million grant that may be issued to them. It may come back to us, and we may be able to, predate it, so that some of this equipment and some of the stuff that we've done, they may say, okay, you can go back as far as January 1st of 2021 to expend this money. And it's for equipment, it's for inspector training, it's for all avenues of the Board of Elections. So keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully it stays in the budget, and hopefully we can get some money back out of it.
Thank you, Billy. Yeah, we discussed this at length, Beth and I and Billy, last week, which is my normal protocol to go over the agenda first. And obviously they can't tell you how much the grant will be, even if it does get approved. But they were thinking between $80,000 and $100,000. And that's just a rough ballpark. But if they're allowed to A, get the grant, and B, then predate some of the items from the BOE, which Billy just mentioned, that would be a huge help to the county to fund some of these different things that we just approved of today. So those are a lot of ifs, and I know how the world works, but I've got a little confidence in this one. We may get lucky on this one. Yes, Madam Chairwoman.
Thanks, Chairman Beatty. I actually have a question for our county attorney, and perhaps our Commissioner Vanessa, you can refresh my memory. With that last grant that we talked about, it wasn't technically a grant, but you had to go on and say that you were not applying for funds, but seeking funds. Does this grant work that same way? Because I think there was some confusion previously about how having to go on and apply versus, I forget the wording you just used, but is this similar to that, the same type of thing? Because if so, I believe the county attorney had.
That was a CTCL grant that they sent a survey to us. And Beth, feel free, because Beth did most of the work on that one, but it was a survey they sent to us, and you answered this survey. Once you answered the survey, they sent back a lump sum, and I think it was a little over $31,000 that they said was available for us.
Right.
And that's what happens. Our grants are different. They're not like planning.
Right.
They're not like a lot of departments where you have to apply for them, because what happens is they get issued. That one got issued to a private organization.
Right.
This one gets issued. Our big ones get issued to the state. They apply for it. They answer all the questions, and then they just tell us here, you get a lump sum of money, now tell us how you're gonna spend it. And that's,
Okay. No, I appreciate that. It sounds a little confusing and probably not normal for most of our departments, but maybe our county attorney could make sure that she's looking at whatever documents, because I know that was one of the questions, right, Mary, previously about the governing body and applying for it and why it needed to go through committee, even though it was just a survey. And I just want to make sure we're proactive if these are the same types of forms. And I don't know if they are or not, but could you work with them to make sure that's, she's nodding her head yes. I think I'm getting a yes there, Billy, if that's okay with you and Beth. Just,
all of our grants, anything that we apply for, we go after. Everything goes to the county attorney. We don't put our John Hancock in anything without them reviewing it first. I mean, and then it goes over there, and most of them all have to be signed by the chair of the board and the administrator anyway. So everything we deal with goes through the county attorney's office. We don't sign anything without them looking at it first.
oh, okay, good.
Hey, Bill, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Just, going back to, we probably got to go back to 2019 to talk about the grants for the e-poll books. How does they typically split that up? Do they do it based on voter enrollments?
Voter reg.
They'll go through the voter reg and they'll figure out whatever's left. They're going to take, there's no doubt, they've already said it in there, the state's going to take $5 million right off the top of that grant. So I don't know, and it sounds like it's going to be $5 million above and beyond the 23. Right now, the number going to local boards of election is 23.5 million.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask Don Lehman, is there any comments from the public for the BOE? Don?
Hello, Chairman Beatty. We have no comments right now.
Okay, so seeing none, I will then thank Billy and Beth. Thank you very much, very insightful. And we'll move on to the next piece. Thank you very much. We're going to go to Pam Vogel now.
I apologize we couldn't be there, but we're in the middle of petition reception, so it's a little much as Zoom over here.
That's fine, Billy.
All right.
Your picture's lovely.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, Pam, now you got 30 seconds. Can you cover this in 30 seconds? Yeah, you can use the podium. Yes, right, ladies? Yes, feel free to use the podium. Let's go to our action agenda committee with Pam Vogel, the county clerk, and we're going to go right to number 3. We've already approved all the minutes, so we don't have to do that again. So we'll go right to number 3A, which is a resolution to enter into a contract with Info Quick Solutions, Inc. for electronic document and records management services for Warren County Clerk's Office. Okay, what do we got here, Pam?
Okay, so as you've stated, we are here to look at the authorization of to enter into the contract. Now, basically, the county clerk's office operates with a very significant, important electronic system. It runs all the different components and operations within the office, and that extends from the very beginning, receipting, straight through to indexing, imaging, the storage of the records, support, hardware, software. There are a tremendous number of elements. The specs for this run about 25 pages in length. When we put those out, we had a number of questions that came back that Julie forwarded. We probably answered around 45 to almost 50 different questions on it. It's quite specific. Now, so you should know, the county clerk's office has been electronic since about 1988. So we have been involved in various vendor-supported electronic services since that time. Expanded out, of course, as time went on, as technology advanced, as technology services advanced, and the demand was more on the clerk's office to expand as well in that forefront. Our current contract is with IQS, And we went into that contract in 2013. So we had a 5-year contract with renewal options. We're in the 3rd year of a renewal option. Because there's been many changes and advancements and enhancements, kind of difficult even back in 2013 to foresee where we would actually be of 5 and possibly 10 years later. So after some initial discussion in early January, we felt it was appropriate to let this RFP go back out at this time to be sure that we were getting everything that we needed in our current service contract. And also to be in a situation that if there was a service out there that was part of a system, that we could take advantage of it. And so at that point, we incorporated as much as we could into this current specification. It went out into, let's see, it was let back in. It went out late February, early February, and was due back in on March 9th. And we had 4 responses to that RFP. And that was examined, and again, all of the questions addressed as part of the evaluation. And out of the 4, we felt that the current provider also was able to meet the requirements and the specs that we had laid out. We did not want to cut ourselves short, especially at this time. We found that some of the responses from the other vendors could not meet everything we needed, or just did not respond to it at all. If there was pricing involved, they did not give pricing. And another vendor was extremely low, and he seemed to be involved in other things other than what a clerk's office does. It was important to us also to know that the vendors that were going to offer services and were looking at us as a contractual obligation, that they understood what we were doing, and that they were doing business in the state of New York. Decidedly, that they knew and worked with other county clerk's offices. Very important. We're not the same as every other office, and the requirements that we have for the recording, filing of documents, all is based in statute. The forms are statutory. So it is important not to guess about these forms, but to actually know how they work and how the whole system integrates from the point of receiving to passing on to the indexing and imaging components, to passing on to public search, to moving forward to making everything that we have currently in the system, as well as going forward, available online, and being a vendor to host that. So
So we have a resolution in front of us, correct, Pam?
we do have the resolution, and having done the evaluations, we would recommend that we enter into the contract with IQS, and that the
Even though they weren't the lowest bidder, but they did meet all the specifications, whereas a lower bidder did not meet the specifications. Am I correct with that?
That's correct.
Okay, so I want that to be clear out there that, this is not the lowest bidder, but it's the lowest bidder that met the specifications, which is obviously what we want. So, okay. All right, so do I have a motion to bring this resolution forward? Mr. Leggett, do I have a second? Mr. Conover, okay. Do I have a discussion, further discussion? Mr. Leggett?
Thank you. Pamela?
Yes, sir.
Down there at the bottom of the resolution, does it say this is 72,000 plus 6,000 plus 10,000? Is this?
Okay, I'm sorry. At the resolution, okay.
Yes,
On the
resolution
resolution
number
form?
3.
Yes, on
At
the
the very
resolution
bottom of
form
the
number
page, Pam.
3.
Okay. That's an annual, the annual fee would be about, let me see here.
72,000 a year.
Okay, at the very bottom of the resolution form, it states where are the funds for this contract. So what I've answered there is we have approximately 72,000. Well, we actually have 72,000 in reproduction expenses under the 1410-425 code. We have additional in that same code 425 in what we call the public records. So that's the figures you're looking at. What is the funding available in our budget right now to meet the expense of this contract? And the contract as well, while it is slightly higher, it does incorporate additional services that we need.
So the yearly cost, Pam, would be what to the county?
About 84,000, 85,000 total.
And currently it's what?
72.
So we're going from 72 to about 84, correct, roughly? Okay.
Yes.
And the reason we're doing that is because the increase is because it covers, this new contract will cover additional services, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. And these additional services, do we currently pay them out of a different code, or, I mean, you know, I'm just,
Well, we limited, the 425 code under 1410, which is county clerk, we limited it to only the reproduction service contract that we had. If we had additional need for services, if they were in the options available under the contract, we could purchase those, and we purchase them typically out of the 1665 425 fund, which is what we call public records. So if we had some additional need and it was in the contract, we could go there. But if it wasn't in the contract, we could not go there.
and now it's in the contract.
And
okay.
now it's in the contract, and we should be able to move along.
Gotcha. So, is there any other questions out there? Yes, Mr. Leggett?
I'd just like to make a comment. Over the years, I've used the IQS to search deeds, maps, things like that for the town. And it's a very useful service to have, to be able to access all of that remotely.
Yes.
Must make a big difference. Now, I always logged in on a guest. I could never print. But there's a fee that's usually involved with printing. And does the county get a fee back from
Yes, it's 80-20
Yes.
Feedback. Many of our municipalities, our assessors, our assessors, and certain of the state agencies, county departments, obviously, the courts, obviously have no fee accounts. So if there's something there that the town does need, please let us know.
Thank you.
Our assessors do have it, I believe, up in Chester as well.
Right, I could go down the hall and get it, but it's usually just for a quick thing to see it.
The search and view is the way you would, if you came into the county clerk's office in the public records room, you would search and view for free. That was, of course, number one. Most of our contracted people that are out there are usually commercial enterprise from a distance.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Okay, any other discussion? Otherwise, I'll call the question. No, Madam Seaver.
I'm so sorry. It is a pet peeve of mine, as as Pam Vogel knows. What Craig, our Supervisor Leggett, is getting at is something with this fee that has bothered me. I brought it up at budget time last year, and I understand it does generate a little bit of a revenue, but it seems to me that if someone wanted to go onto that and save the document, that they could do that without having to pay the $5. But unfortunately, the intent behind this was if it was to be printed or copied by our department. So I understand that this $5, if someone's getting a great deal, it's multiple pages or whatever the case might be, or they're from another state, Of course, you've given me the pros on it, but I really do wish there's a way we could still look at this and try to make a determination, especially in the world of online and COVID, that, you know, that it seems, doesn't seem like the best service that we could provide to our taxpayers, for those of those taxpayers not looking to print it, but rather looking to view and save it. We've been, at any rate.
I thank you for that. You know, the revenue last year, and thankfully we did engage in the online, and we also have been very diligent about our conversion, which I started, you know, back 15 years ago. Had we not done those, and COVID came along, those efforts and those funds that we, you know, we pinched pennies to do, would have been a very difficult time for us this year. Obviously, life would not have gone on in the way that we subsequently have seen it move forward still. Yeah, the revenue that we earn on it, you know, part of that fee isn't really about the download. It is also about securing the information. So today or this weekend, I was informed that I am another unemployment fraud claim. And they not only did one, but they did three. So I can be divided in parts, but three is a little bit too much. So with that, so part of what that fee is going to is to protecting those records that are out there in the public. And we did about $60,000 last year, and that revenue went directly to the county. So, okay. But it is always something for discussion, you know. Yep. Many years ago, we all bought our first computers, and I remember a first computer being $4,000, at least for me. And now things have changed considerably. So perhaps we'll find that day, Madam Chairwoman, that you know, that we just put it out there. But at this point in time, it is part of the contract, and it does actually help the county and reduces a little bit of our fees.
Okay, thank you. So I've got the question out on the floor. Seeing and hearing any more discussion, I will call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Out in Heatherland, I saw ayes, so be it. Let's go to B. New York State Association of County Clerks 100th anniversary. Yeah. Pam, I know you're not 100, so you weren't there when they started this.
Not quite,
no?
But I'm getting terribly
Okay,
close.
Well, I think we're all creeping up on the
yeah,
big 100.
We are indeed. Thank you very much for that.
Well, you're only a day over 50. How's that? That's on record. All right, so this is a request to invite the Warren County Board of Supervisors to recognize the New York State Association of County Clerks on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of its formation. See model resolutions attached. These were all sent out to everyone. Do I have a motion to bring this to the floor?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Leggett, second by Mr. Conover. Do I have any discussion on this?
Just,
yep, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just want to say that as far as the supervisor is concerned, we have one of the best county clerks in the state of New York, and so I'm very pleased to endorse and support all the county clerks, all the clerks really on this 100th anniversary. And no, I'm not quite have been around for 100 years.
Well, I was going to mention that, but hey, you know, far be it from me.
You know, go right ahead.
Okay, do I have any other comments or discussion on that? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of honoring this 100th anniversary, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, there you go, 100 and 100 more to come. All righty, what else we got here? We got discussion, financial reports, reports of receipts and distribution.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Pam.
Well, I just thought I would bring to this committee you know, the information regarding the 2020 finances, receipts, and disbursements that we have done. And it's I'm not really sure what the best way to look at it. There's a lot of information. I will just point out that you have one sheet that says monthly receipts and disbursements for 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So the upper portion of that tells you what the revenue was in all of the various different streams that came in. Okay, so when you have time, I do invite you to take a look at that. The lower portion of it are the disbursements. So what did the county clerk do with that money? And you will see that too breaks up and goes through the various accounts and agencies that we do have to deliver these funds to over the course of the year. County money and clerk's money goes out monthly, okay? And so we're reconciling every day, but we're also at the end of the month is when we distribute to our, you know, the tax and finance, to the courts and the like. So I will just call you that, you know, there's a lot of numbers there, but you will see the 11 million that we put out or took in during the year, and then where it went at its closing as well, and those amounts are the same. Now, when we were meeting with the supervisor, our chair, Mr. Beatty, and our vice chair, Mr. Leggett, earlier in February, one of the things that, you know, we talked a little bit about this, and I think it was Supervisor Leggett talked about some information that I had presented at one of his earlier meetings, and that was a couple years back ago. It is all the same information and a little bit more actually, but it's in narrative format, okay? So we take each of the accounts and where the money comes from and also gets dispersed, and we describe that a little bit. So I think in trying to get to know the county clerk's office and the finances, hopefully the narrative portion of it will be helpful to you, as well as the Excel spreadsheet with numbers all over the place. So I invite you to look through that. There are a couple of revenue streams that are included in this that are not on the spreadsheet, and those, there's two things, I believe. The motor vehicle use tax, which is a separate local law that came out of Warren County, and that's been in place since about 2008 or 9. I guess local law 2010. And so you as supervisors often will get, you know, questions. And someone will say, I never saw this before. It was on my registration. You know, where did it come from? Well, it's been around 10 years. But we do receive that sum of money that comes in, is collected by the state, comes to the county treasurer, and is identified in the budget for Warren County. And another one is the internet. We talked a little bit about the revenue that comes in from online documents, sale of documents. And that is a separate revenue code. And that this year was $60,000, which we mentioned. But other than that, it's a narrative. It's a little discussion. Hopefully it'll be helpful to all when they look through it. And the other two form spreadsheets that you saw were specific to DMV, transactions as well as funds that come in and a variety of other information on it. For your information, we do put much of this information online on our website. So it's called By the Numbers, and what you will see is clerk revenue, clerk activity, DMV revenue, and DMV activity. So please, if you haven't gone to that part of the county website and checked out By the Numbers, You won't see it for the start of this year yet. It's not there yet. We have the numbers, we don't have it up yet. But, so that's also a good way for you to kind of compare, you know, how are we doing? How do we do against 2019, 2018? Keep about 5 years up. So this information will be sent to the board and filed with them.
Thank you, Pam. Is there any questions or discussion on that? Mr. McGowan, I presume.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pam, what do we get on internet sales?
80%. And we did, you mean 60,000 last year.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, that's a surprisingly low number to me.
It's actually our highest in several years.
Well, that's good, but
Yeah.
I think there's something off there.
Yeah.
But thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Leggett.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just really like to compliment the clerk on pulling together this narrative. It is really eye-opening on where all these numbers come from and go to. Thank you.
Yes, you did a very good job.
Yeah, impressive.
Okay, seeing and hearing none, thank you very,
When does the mortgage tax expire?
December 1st, 2023.
We're supposed to bring that up.
you passed
Yeah.
the first part of the quiz. Here's the
We will
second
always
part.
have that on the agenda.
Here's the bonus question. Mr. Moore, do you have a bonus question?
No.
No, okay. Thank you, Pam. Okay, we're gonna move right along now to, Julie Butler and, Purchasing Department, and, please pull that, pardon me?
The clerk is looking and...
Mr. Chairman, you're the one that asked me to say some good things.
Oh, yeah, I know. I always like good things. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah.
I couldn't remember from yesterday.
At our meeting in early February, the chair said to me, you know, but it's okay to, you know...
Blow your own horn once in a while. You're darn right it
put on
is.
some good news once in a while, and I said, we're talking the county clerk and the DMV. So anyway, a couple things. Yes, we've had some nice reviews that have come in on our online, from the online end of our appointment system in the DMV. Really nice things. People appreciate, you know, when we can go the extra mile, professional and very positive. We did also have a letter, and I heard there was a second one that went to the editor just a few weeks ago. And so we certainly appreciate that. But I think the one...
That was a nice letter from your son, by the way.
Okay. I didn't know I named him that. But the other one that I really do want to share with you, and which touched us really, late December, from the drop box at the that we have outside for the DMV, there was a Post-it note that was attached to a plate surrender or a DMV transaction, and the Post-it note said, "Thank you for getting up, going to work, and doing what you do. I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much."
That's a mic drop. Thank you very much, Pam. That said a lot, and I remember you reading that to us, to Mr. Leggett and myself. Again, thanks for doing all the hard work on all these numbers too, and the paragraph on each budget code and so forth. That's very helpful for me anyway, because I'm a little slow. So thank you. All right, we're done. Thanks, Pam.
Thank you so much.
You have a great afternoon. Okay, Julie. You're the last one of the trio.
Okay, I'll try to make it very quick.
Okay.
Every year we need to have revisions to our policy adopted by the board. So basically this is just the annual review and adoption of the policy. When I sent the copy out to everybody, it does have the highlighting in there. All the additions were underlined. Anything being deleted was in brackets. I don't know if you'd like me to go through every change, or if you reviewed it and you have questions. I'm happy to do either.
Okay, so first of all, she sent out this, the purchasing to all the committee members, okay? I went over it with Julie myself, actually last night. She took the time on a Sunday night to cover it. But they're highlighted the changes, okay, and I know, for example, the copy I have, it doesn't show yellow on it because we don't have a color copying machine, but if we did, it would be yellow, like, for example, under section 1, where it's, you can tell it's been highlighted. Those are changes, okay? And also, she was very gracious enough to put down what bid means, what RFP means, best value, true lease, because I for one get confused on that. So I that was very helpful to me to get some clarification on that. So Mike and Craig and Ron, hopefully you had a chance to go through this, and I think hopefully your copies had it highlighted in yellow. Any changes she made? Am I correct? Did you guys see it in yellow?
Yeah.
You did? Okay, good. Mike, did you see it in yellow?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, I did, but I didn't recognize the things in brackets were deleted. I was just looking for something struck out, but yes, I did see it, and I did read it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question, but go ahead.
Okay, and Ron, did you see that too? Did you get a chance to go through it?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mike, do you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, let me scroll through it. I think it was page 25, and I'm going to try to do this at the same time I'm talking. But I think I saw 19. I'm getting there. So there was something about going to government ops and advocacy and or finance committee. This was originally just going to finance. Now it's going to government ops also.
It was, and it's not by law required to go to finance. I'm actually not sure where that came from. That may have been in the policy for years and years and years. But because purchasing now falls under governmental operations and advocacy, I wanted to put both of them in there. And then if there's a huge change to the policy where it should be referred to finance, we have that in the policy as well.
And I guess I'm just wondering why we're calling out the specific committee instead of just it has to go to committee, because things change, right? In my 3 years here, it seems like things bounce around from time to time. So that means we'd have to go through another revision next year if there wasn't a government ops and advocacy.
And we are required to have this adopted every year. So we would have that opportunity to make the change when that happens.
Yeah, and we update this yearly, so.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
That was my only question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Anyone else have a question? Ms. Conover, Mr. Leggett?
No.
No?
Just, I'd have a comment, Mr. Chairman, if you'd allow.
Mr. Conover?
Yeah, and I know you know this, Mr. Chairman, having been the chairman of Shared Services, what a terrific job our purchasing department does, not only for the county, but for all the municipalities in the county. I mean, it's just such a resource to be able to pick up the phone, call the purchasing department on any of a number of different matters. What a tremendous resource and helpful department we have. Thank you.
I concur that 1,000%. She does a phenomenal job, she and Jason, and I can tell you most towns, I've heard from most town supervisors, they all love her. So I won't have to have you go through, Julie, every single revision. Obviously, they've all got it and read it, and these guys are sharp and they're up on their game. And if there's no other discussion on that, then do we need a motion on this? Well, we need a motion to approve this.
Correct.
So do I have a motion by Mr. Leggett, and I have a second by Mr. Conover? Okay. Again, I'll call for any discussion last time. Okay. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Very good. Julie, you did a phenomenal job.
Thank
you
you.
put a lot of time and effort into it, and thanks for spending some time with me last night on the phone.
No problem.
Going
at all.
over all this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. On our agenda, I don't think we have anything else. Mr. Lehman, is there any comments from Warren County or any county that ever wanted to jump in? Wait a minute. Before you ask, Madam Chairman, would you like to make a comment?
Well, the public can go first, but yeah.
Well, go ahead. You got a comment?
Julie, I wanted to tell you that you have been so incredibly helpful to me over the last, I think I'm at like 71 days maybe today. Mm-hmm. And one of I don't know how many people are aware, Craig allowed me to show it off a little bit to him. I got very excited over the idea of, just the procedural aspects from how things go in every direction through the chair's office for signatures. And one process that we were reviewing and talking about, Julie didn't have to help me in the way that she did. She jumped in and provided me with some guidance on what she was seeing from her level of expertise with contracts and all of the work that she does with multiple municipalities and her experience with shared services. So where you didn't have to jump in and help me, we've come out with, between your office and the county attorney's office and the county administrator's office, a contract review certification form. So no longer as your chair, the first one to sign the contract. I'm always the last.
Right.
And I like it that way. But now we have an opportunity where we've been able to catch a couple things that have come through and concerns about whether it be older resolutions or the contract itself, or just is it really reflecting what's in the resolution, but tracking that from the time it leaves you guys in committee to go through the board. Amanda does a great job with the resolution tracking sheet too, but everything that happens after that. And now I know Supervisor Bramer has been working with the county attorney's office on these contracts where they're just missing, minor information here and there, but they can sit out there for months and months and months. And really, when someone then needs the contract, we don't have it signed and ready to go, despite all your hard work in committee. So Julie, you made a big difference with that. And it makes me feel much better as I'm reading these and reviewing them and knowing I am far from the expert that each department head and her office and the attorney's office are all certifying and verifying the information before a signature here. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay. One final comment. I'm very appreciative of being back live here in person. It's almost like Saturday Night Live. I haven't been back chairing a committee in person or at a board meeting in 10 months. So, boy, it is different being back here and seeing a lot of happy faces instead of out in Zoom land. So I plan on being here as much as I can. So, final note, who would like to make the motion to adjourn? Anybody want to adjourn, or are we going to sit here all afternoon? Mr. Conover wants to go. I don't blame you. Do I have a second on that? Mr. Wild with a second on adjournment? Okay, very good. All in favor of adjournment? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it. We're done. Let's get this down about